Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar on the 17-point system for selling every listing fast and for top dollar. I know that sounds like a great plan for you. Well, my name's Todd Walters. I'm the Platinum Coach with Craig Proctor Real Estate Coaching, and I've been wanting to do this webinar, create an online system for everyone to go to and use as leverage for an awful long time. Okay, and we're going to do that today, and you get to be the beneficiary of that early on. Now, many of you that are watching today's webinar probably have seen some of what I'm going to disclose and discuss with you today. But even then, many of you who have seen it and you've been involved in those discussions before still do not have the proper implementation of these systems pulled off so that you can benefit from them. So hopefully today's webinar will help even you. Okay, now what I've discovered over the last 22 years of being in this industry, selling homes, doing really well at it, is that you can affect change, like you can affect the outcome on getting listings sold. Primarily it's price driven, right? Price is the primary driving force for getting properties sold. Better the price, more likely it is to sell. But hey, how often do you have a really, really good and well-priced listing and it doesn't sell? How often do you have an overpriced listing and you're like, that's not going to sell? But it does. Like, these things happen. So through these discoveries and experiences, especially over the last 8 years as Platinum Coach with Craig Proctor Real Estate Coaching, I'm telling you, I have discovered and seen firsthand that you can change the outcome on getting your listing sold fast and for top dollar. 17 ways I've documented that you can really make this happen. So I'm going to step you through each system that I believe that if you just took some of them and you put them to work in your business, oh my God, you would absolutely be able to sell more of your properties much faster and for more money. As a matter of fact, much of what I'm going to share with you today should be part of your seller benefits presentation, your listing presentation to get more sellers, possibly even part of your marketing systems to attract more motivated sellers to you. Okay, so pay very close attention today with what I'm sharing with you. Here are the 17 systems on your computer screen that we're going to be discussing today. Okay, first one is RBID. Next one is the actual MLS features and remarks. Okay, how to leverage your MLS system a little bit better. The photos that you're carrying, simple and accurate directions, how you should use signage, staging systems, the virtual sales agent, reverse offers, price reductions, leveraging buyer's agents in your marketplace, business cards, getting your seller to do the work for you, leveraging real estate investors, guaranteed sale program, and some other creative things like everyday open house and rent-to-own and rental options. All of these are part of a really good system for ensuring you get all of your listings sold. So let's start with one of my favorites, which is RBID. Now, some of you know the story about RBID, others of you may not, but I'm going to tell it anyway because it's so impactful. Okay, so I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, the marketplace for me in Metro Atlanta was going south, and it was going south in a hurry. Okay, so check this out. On any given day, we were averaging about 125 active listings. Okay, most of you know the story, but you know what? I'm telling you, this is a game changer. It saved my bacon, so it warrants mentioning again. But we had about 125 active listings on any given day. Well, within about a 5-month time frame, we went from 125 active listings to over 380 active listings on any given day. Now, that's a lot of listings. Now, on the front end, that sounds really good. Like, who wouldn't want that, right? Well, I didn't want it. Let me tell you why. Because over the course of about 90 days of putting homes on the market during this 5 or 6 month period that I'm talking about, over the course of about 3 of those months, every single new listing that we had put on the marketplace, none, and let me repeat, none were under contract. That's right. So think about what that's doing to my business here. Adding that many listings in that short a period of time and having virtually none of them going under contract and selling means that you're taking on more expense, signs, marketing, customer service, key boxes, photography, all that stuff, and there's no, let me repeat, no return on the investment within that period of time. So bottom line is, I'm actually going out of business. When your expenses begin to exceed your income, you're on your way out of business, and I was. So I picked up the phone and I called some of my trusted associates and friends across the country, and I asked them, hey, look, is there a real estate agent or real estate broker or somebody out there that sells every single home they list, like they don't have any expired listings? And the answers I keep getting were, no, there's always expired listings and all this. And I'm like, you know what? I keep coming back to one place that really sells every home they put on the market, and that was HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Well, I began to look at that, and I was like, you know what? That's all we need to do then is we just need to call our listings HUD homes, and they would all sell. But obviously there's more to it. The fact that they were government-owned foreclosures creates a perception in prospects' mind that it's a good value. But listen, as real estate agents, we already know that these HUD homes, they ain't very good values. Like the prices get bid way up. Many times they don't really appraise, or appraisers have to work really hard to make these things happen. So I just looked at their model. Like, how does HUD sell homes? So I begin to discover, like, look, you have to bid on them. It's a third-party perception of sale. There are guarantees and assurances that come with them, and they're hard to find. It's kind of obscure information, but the big cool thing is, like I mentioned a second ago, you have to bid on these things. Well, I couldn't call the listings HUD homes, but I could come up with some other name that might create the same sort of third-party perception of value through a bid system. So I did. I created RBid. And what you're looking at on your screen right now are the dialogues about RBid. So when talking to a seller, kind of looks like this. Mr. Seller, see, we're the exclusive managing broker in Metro Atlanta for RBid properties. This system specifically designed to create a perception of value for the prospective buyer and the buyer's agents. Like each RBid home carries a buyer satisfaction guarantee. And it says if the buyer's not happy with it, we'll buy the home back from them. RBid homes also come with a 12-month warranty against defects. So if the buyers buy it and if something breaks, it gets fixed. And buyers don't really make offers on RBid homes. They have to bid on them. And because buyers bid on properties, it actually means selling the home for even more money than what you're actually asking for. Okay? And on and on. So you can see that I basically created RBid to be just like HUD, but we called it RBid, built out an RBid website, and everything that goes along with it. Okay, so that's what RBid is. And on your screen, you can read for yourself, and you can stop this webinar at any given time in the recording form. So when it gets posted to the website, you can go back and look at it, and you can make really good use of this system. If you want to, you can become an RBid member. So instead of reinventing your own similar system, you may just want to consider absolutely just becoming an RBid member and paying for that service. Okay, and you can contact. I'll tell you what. Here's what you do. Just go to www.r-bid.com. That's www.r-bid.com, and you can check it all out there. How about that? So this is not a webinar to try to sell you anything, but to give you an idea of how you can leverage perception to create more demand for your listings. All right, and this absolutely does that. Okay, so that gives you a really good of RBid. And here's a great screenshot from our seller benefits presentation, our listing presentation. We played a little video for them about RBid, how it works. There's a sample of an RBid sign in the front yard. So you can see that, and a nice quote from Craig Proctor there. Look, you can see that RBid right here on your screen, it goes a long way to creating a greater perception of value for a property. And let me just explain this a little bit more as we get into today's selling system, because this is important for you. Okay? If you were my buyer and you came into my office because we had an appointment to go look at homes, I said, okay, buyer, I've got 5 properties that match your home buying criteria, 5 of them. But we really only have time for 4. So let's take a look at them real fast here on paper, and let's see which ones we want to leave out altogether, or maybe go see last, okay? All right, house number 1 is a bank-owned property. House number 2 is a corporate-owned home. House number 3 is a builder closeout. House number 4 is a divorce sale. And house number 5 is Mr. and Miss Smith's house. Which property do you want to leave out altogether, maybe go see last? And if you conduct that survey to your buyers, what you'll find is they're going to choose, more often than not, Mr. and Miss Smith's home is the one that gets left out. And the reason is that the words that you use to describe the other sales create a perception of value. You got it. So great lesson in this for you right here, right? So you can see a screenshot here on the MLS remarks, private remarks. Check it out for realtors only. Bid deadline is Friday at 2 p.m. Absolutely will be sold. Our bid info and details at www.r-bid.com. All right, fantastic. So yeah, you can go there and check it out for yourself. And if you're not a member, you can become one. Just click on the button that says for real estate agents, and you'll fill out an inquiry form. It'll be forwarded to somebody that can help you out with that. All right. So, but to give you a little better detail, it works just like HUD. Each home is advertised with a deadline for bids. Bids are treated just like traditional offers, you know, with the exception of maybe a special amendment that the buyer must execute, stipulating deadlines for financing and all that kind of stuff. In other words, copy what the banks do to create a perception of value. That's it. And you can really turn your listings around. So you must have, I believe, if you're in a situation market like mine, create a greater perception of value for your listings through a third-party sale like our bid. You're on your way to selling more listings. And so that would be number one on the list. That system right there saved my bacon and allowed me to go on to move and sell a lot more property. All right. So let's go on to number two. Number two, non-eliminating MLS information. All right. The features of the listing in MLS really must be non-eliminating. See, buyers and buyer's agents are looking for reasons not to go look at property. That's right. When they pull up listings, all of the properties match their home buying criteria. So now they must narrow it down. So they're looking for reasons not to go. So you need to do a good job of only selecting features that attract prospects, not repel them. For example, if the home has 3 bedrooms and a bonus room, you would probably be better off after some market research to disclose that the home is a possibly 4-bedroom house. Okay, and you can tell everybody that the 4th bedroom is also a bonus room or whatever. Okay, and but look, it's all about perception. Okay, I have had real estate agents call me up after looking at one of these properties and say, hey, that 4th bedroom, that's not a bedroom. You know, it doesn't have a window, or it doesn't have a closet, or some other kind of mess like that. So I said, yeah, but it has a bed in it. Or it did have a bed in it. There was a kid sleeping in it last week. Okay, or the last homeowner used it as a bedroom. I mean, wouldn't your buyers want to know that? Or is your buyer interested in the property or not? So, look, don't get caught up into the legalistic details of these things. This is a house. It can be used for many different things. Find a way to add value. And you're probably going to want to avoid features like where I am right now in Metro Atlanta. If you have a sloped lot, and that's what I say in the MLS, a sloped lot, that's going to drive prospects away from the property, including the prospects that don't mind it. Okay? Because many times it's the buyer's agents making the decision on which properties to go see. So get rid of all that stuff. So here's what I suggest. Take the MLS data entry form out of your file, take a black magic marker, and black out all, and I mean black out all of the stuff that does not need to be checked off as a possible feature when describing the home in the MLS. Great. All right, let's move on to number 3. Okay, how can you expose your property to more people? How can you get greater perception of value beyond what we've just talked about? Well, you can do what we've got here on number 3, list the property in multiple areas, categories, special circumstances. So, for example, if a listing is close to an MLS area line, try to find a way to put the listing in both MLS areas. That gives you double the exposure. Did you know that? Yeah. Sometimes it really should be in 2 areas, okay, even if it's close to a line. And, okay, so let's talk about some of the problems. The MLS system may not allow the property to be listed in more than one area. Okay, well, look, figure out a way to get it done. Change the address. Make it 2 properties. Pay the extra fee if it's available to get the home listed in multiple areas. That's important. So some of you are laughing, you know, what do you mean change the address, Todd? Isn't that cheating? And the answer is, no, I'm looking at this from my perspective now. Where I am here in Metro Atlanta, I pay a fee to use the MLS system. As a matter of fact, this is pretty funny. You may find this interesting, but in Metro Atlanta, we have the most expensive MLS system in the country. It's called First Multiple Listing Service. It's owned by GE, not real estate agents, and we pay basically $125 for every $100,000 of sales price when the property sells. Yeah, that's a lot of money per sale. So good portion of our commission is gone. So here's what I know about our MLS. They like sales. So even though they may challenge me on some of these things, we're still able to do it. So yes, we've had listings in border areas where we wanted to get it into multiple listing areas, and we changed the address to get it into both areas, okay, and sell a lot more properties as a result of that. In the MLS, where I am, it says information deemed reliable but not accurate. So we take that to heart, and we leverage that as much as we possibly can. Okay, look, my job is to sell my client's home. Okay, let's make sure we're clear on this. That's my job. I take that job very, very seriously. Client hires me to sell his house. I ain't getting paid most of the time until it sells. I'm selling this house. Okay, and the MLS is a great marketing vehicle to use for that. It's not going to sell the house for me, but it's a great marketing vehicle if used properly and well. Okay, so that's a good example. Hey, another one is multiple categories. For example, we've had many homes, residential areas on acreage, 5 acres. So we would go ahead and list that property in a different category like land and farm. Okay, so find a way to get more out of that current listing. One other example is you want to paint a picture of value for the buyer. So when you've got a buyer in your car, you drive up to a listing, the property looks interesting, they go in, it looks more interesting. One of the questions the buyer always asks is, why are these people selling their house? Right? So since we know that that's interesting for prospects, then why wouldn't you disclose that? It's a pre-foreclosure. It's a divorce sale. It's an estate sale. It's a corporate sale. It's an owner transfer. Financial distress. Health reasons. All of these are clues into the seller's motivation and paint a picture in your buyer prospect's mind they want to sell. Goes back to what I was just talking about using the RBID system. Find a way to tell that story in a compelling way. For example, husband killing wife if they don't sell before this divorce. Awesome divorce sale. Buy before wife shoots husband in the head. In other words, you can lighten it up a little bit, be kind of funny, and that may be overstating it a bit, but you get the idea, right? Okay. Let's take a look at another option. That'd be number 4. Photos. And photos are key, just like it says on your screen. Look. We got a full-time photographer, runs around town, taking pictures of our listings, putting home tours together and all that stuff. Every home must have as many really good photos that you can muster up. Do not allow buyers to eliminate homes prematurely. Virtual tours and home shows and all these things really must meet sellers' expectations and your expectations. Going through the motions here on your photos is a mistake. I can't tell you the number of listings that I would pull up in the MLS, click on to look at the photos, and the photos suck so bad that it's like I'm not going to see the house. Or the photos are a picture of a room, makes the room look small. What kind of room is that? Find a way to get better photos of the property, pictures of the yard, street views, pictures of the swim and tennis communities in the neighborhood. Okay. Come on. A video clip you can use on these photo tours nowadays, right? So a video clip of the seller, an interview about some of the benefits the property has to offer. Okay, but photos are key. All right, don't go through the motions on that at all. All right, let's move on to number 5, the remarks. How frustrating is it to do a search for properties, pull up 10 listings that match your home buyer's description. You look at the properties. The first thing you're going to do, because all the homes match the same criteria, you read the remarks. When a buyer's doing a search on the internet for listings, they're looking at the remarks, the general description, the summary. This is your chance to shine. This is the ad for the property. Okay? Do not go through the motions on writing remarks. Fill in every space with emotional power words that paint a picture of value. Agents are looking for an easy sell. Buyers are looking for a property that will benefit them. So that's the key. Use remarks to talk about benefits. Do not repeat the features. For example, remarks. Great brick traditional home. 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath. Separate living room. Full basement. Must see. You got to be freaking kidding me. Like, that's not a very good job of marketing, and that's grounds for dismissal if you were my agent and I was the seller. Okay? Words mean things. Okay, so find words that work. Let's look at a couple of examples here. Move-up house. Okay, well, you can see we've leveraged the guaranteed sale program. Buy this awesome home, we'll buy yours. Okay, magnificent, prestigious, sought after, custom. Oh my gosh, so even though we've got features in here, holy crap, we've got really good power words that describe what? Right, prestige, self-esteem. Okay, that's what we're talking about, prestige and self-esteem. And the reason is, that's what move-up buyers want. First-time home buyers want what? You got it, safety and security. Let's look at a first-time home buyer house. Buy this awesome home with no money down, no payments for 6 months. This would obviously be some kind of owner financing house, but check it out. Quiet, spacious, private. You got that? Limited restrictions. I'm telling you, man, words mean things. You got to find a way to use words that relate to the type of prospect that you're trying to attract. Okay, let's move on to number 6. Easy, simple, and accurate directions on the listing. Agents are in a hurry, and they will eliminate homes that are difficult to show or find. Okay? You may find this pretty interesting. I do. If you did the research in your MLS, you would find that 60% of all the real estate agents sell between 1, 2, and 3 houses. Okay? So 1 to 3 homes, 60% of the agents in your marketplace, give or take a couple of percentage points. That's statistically the average across North America. All right, so what does that mean? That means that your listing has about a 60% chance of being sold by a cooperating agent who sells 1, 2, or 3 houses. There you go. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to treat my listing like whoever's looking at it is an idiot. I want to idiot-proof everything. I don't want to take anything for granted. If I have to make people work hard to get to my listings, to look at them, to get information on the property, then you know what? I'm making people work hard and giving them every reason to eliminate it. So agents are in a hurry. They will eliminate homes that are difficult to show or find. So using MapQuest and MapBooks, it does take some time. But take advantage of the directions section of your MLS listings and be very specific. Make it easy for the agent or buyer to picture in their mind the location of the property. Very important. Okay? So, as a matter of fact, I can't recommend this enough. Based on recent surveys of real estate agents out there, this is a pet peeve of many. All right, let's look at number 7. Overuse of signage. Some of you agents that are watching today's webinar, you're like cheapskates. Like, you don't want to spend a dime on anything. And you know what? You kind of get out of what you put into. And I got to tell you, there really should be 2, maybe even up to 5 directional signs per property. And some of you are saying, well, Todd, we can't use directionals in my marketplace. Are you sure? Okay, that maybe you can find a way. How about on private property? Can you put directionals? Okay, another home in the neighborhood, can you ask them if you can use their yard? Okay, to have a directional sign. I mean, think about ways you can get more signs out there, because this will get more people driving to your property. And then once you've done that, how can you make your directional signs stand out? Well, you put words on them that mean things. Distress sale, divorce sale. Okay, $25,000 below appraisal. Okay, this one right here, you bid home for sale. Okay, whatever that means, I don't know, but I saw it on a listing. It reminded me of our bid, so I put it in my notes and put it on the screen here for you. Our bid home for sale, for example. Okay, look, this is big. If brick is in demand in your market, all brick them. Something that makes it stand out. But home for sale, or is it just like saying another home for sale? Means nothing, no compelling benefit. Use signage properly. Number 8, a comprehensive staging system. All right, like upon listing each home, the seller should receive a complete how to stage your home kit. This is important. Okay, so are you doing this? Give them, like, when you list a property, I'm telling you, the seller's looking for direction. So lack of direction on your part means lack of direction. So it allows the seller to come back to you and say, well, you didn't tell me this, and you didn't tell me that, and you got to work harder on feedback and all that other stuff. But if you see that the seller's got some issues with their property, create a checklist and give it to them and say, this is my recommendations on things you can do to improve the sellability of your home. I give every seller a free list of tips of what I believe will help them get more money for their home at the end of the day. Okay? So here you go. If you need any help on any of these things getting them done, let me know. All right? Now, if you have a success website, and many of you do, you want to go there and pull off the report, 27 tips to selling your home faster and for top dollar. Or if you're, you can go to the coaching site. You can pull that down under the resources tab. All right? But give them something, a guideline that they can follow to stage their house properly. There are some platinum members, I know Judy Beasler and a few others, that, oh my God, they actually get paid money to stage properties. Many agents are using virtual staging. You'll take a vacant home and you put it on the internet, with the rooms and stuff, and then furniture and accessories get photoshopped into the virtual tour. That's right. So, hey, look, be creative, but find a way to stage these properties, or at least put the onus back on the seller. Let them know it's their responsibility for making sure their home is presented well and in its best light possible. So what is your system for that? All right, let's look at the virtual sales agent. Now, you may find this pretty interesting, but in Metro Atlanta, if you want to go show a house for sale as a buyer's agent, the MLS actually has the seller's name and phone number in it, and the showing instructions, the showing instructions say, courtesy call owner lockbox. So if I'm a buyer's agent, I pull the home up in MLS, I call the owner, hey, can we show your house on Saturday at 2 o'clock? Leave a message or whatever. Nobody tells me differently. I'm there Saturday at 2 o'clock. I know it's amazing, but that's how it works. So look, it works differently in different MLS boards. You only know what you know, and it's just the way when things have been done here, so people keep doing it that way. Not all, but some. So look, many times that means the buyer's agent's taking this buyers over to the house and you're not there. So you have no leverage. You're only as good as the buyer's agent. And again, 60% selling 1, 2, or 3 homes a year. Ooh. Wouldn't put the responsibility for the sale in their hands. I'm going to take on responsibility. So what are you putting into the property that acts as you, or virtual you, sales message and other material when you're not there? So, here's a few ideas, like a virtual on-site sales presentation. We've had many times, especially in our more well-to-do listings, depending on how many listings you have. We've used radio talking house inside the property. We've used DVD players. Click here for a demonstration on the benefits of this house, and every buyer will do it, and you watch a 5-minute presentation. And I've seen some real estate agents use notes that are peppered throughout the house, little cards that highlight the benefits and details of the property. A take-along DVD or CD of the home with the sales points and market value comparisons and the like. But this is what you do, okay, if you're very serious about changing the outcome, creating more demand for your home. All right. Now, one of my favorites is the reverse offer system. So we're going to call this number 10. The reverse offer system. Okay, so here's how it works. Buyer previews a listing. Buyer does not make an offer on listing. Seller then makes the buyer an offer. Right? So instead of waiting on the buyer to make an offer, the seller makes the buyer an offer. That's a reverse offer. That's right. So after initial setup of a new listing, you put a purchase and sell agreement together with the seller, and you just hang on to it. This way it's easily accessible to print and fax or email or whatever to the buyer's agent. And then the buyer looks at your property. They don't make an offer on your listing within a day or two. You send the offer to them along with a cover letter from the seller, or possibly even a flyer attached to the back end highlighting your buyback guarantee. if you have that, you're using it. So some of you are saying, well, how's that work? What's the terms? Well, the offer date is obviously the day the seller's making the offer to the buyer. So that's probably going to change with each prospect, right? The offering price should probably be no more than or no less than 1.5% of the seller's asking price. In other words, bring the price down some. I recommend 1.5 point change. Okay, I wouldn't go out to buyer with the same asking price. Okay, change it a little bit. Even something will be better than nothing. Okay, financing and other conditions in the thing, due diligence periods. Like, look, you need to be generous here to the buyer. You're trying to get the buyer to come back and pay very close attention to this property. All right, so you want the buyer to know what kind of deal they can possibly get here. All right, so these are just some bullet point examples of what you can do, to really influence the buyer. Now, is this a magic pill or plethora? No, but Matt, it works great. Okay. Here's a great stipulation too with this reverse offer is that each party shall have 72 hours after acceptance of the agreement to terminate the agreement. So this really puts a little less pressure on the seller to go out on a limb or the buyer, to respond and all that kind of good stuff. So it's really good. So here's some dialogue with the buyer's agent on this. Hey, thank you for previewing our property at 1065 Gunter Court, Mr. Agent. The seller has decided to take the opportunity to make your buyer an offer. Yep, I faxed the offer over to you, so you have it on your fax machine. The deadline for response is 5 p.m. day after tomorrow. So if you could, please confirm that you received it and let me know what your buyer's response is. And we appreciate your time and help in getting this property sold. That's it. So it's a great system, works really well. If you're not doing it and you're in a tough market, you may want to consider implementing this. Okay, making a part of your listing presentation, holy mess, man, that's a great way to deliver more value to your sellers and let them know you're very aggressive and proactive at getting their home sold. Okay, so good job. All right, let's look at number 11, price reduction system. If the home's not selling, buyers just aren't interested in it at that price, right? Okay, so what's wrong with getting upfront, agreed to in the beginning, price reductions? After 30 days, you're going to change the price from X to X. All right. If you're running a team, you better have a lot of training for your listing agents and your customer service manager to ask for price reductions whenever the seller raises the question about, hey, what are you doing to get my home sold? Or, look, I really need to sell this property. Every time the seller calls you and they broach you with the attitude of like, I need to sell, or really I want to sell, or they're complaining about you or something that you've done, let's understand that what's driving that is their motivation to sell. That's what it is. So that's your opportunity to turn around and say, look, Mr. Seller, I hear what you're saying, and I get where you're coming from, and I can see why you're a little miffed about that. But look, my guess is if you had an offer on your home today, you probably wouldn't be arguing with me about that or giving me a hard time about it, huh? So really, you just want to sell the home. Well, look, right now you're asking $200,000 for your house. I mean, if a buyer knocked on your door tomorrow and said, here's $190,000 cash, take your home as is, close in 30 days, would you take it? That's what that is. So the conversation, when the sellers approach you like this, look, it's an open door opportunity for you to turn around and close them on a price change. That's your system for doing this. Okay. Another thing is I would eliminate negotiating room. I do not recommend and have never recommended since I was early on in this business padding the price for negotiating. That right there has allowed me to sell more homes than anything else because I have the better priced properties. And I just explained to the seller. Like using your theory to raise the price over and above what we know it would really sell for, then price it at anything. Why not ask $1 million for your $300,000 house? Right? So since price influences the sale, isn't it best to put the best possible price on it? Like wouldn't you rather have offers you're turning down than not have any at all? Because that creates opportunity. Okay, so remember that. Another key element here that I wanted to discuss on price reduction systems will be critical mass. Okay, so you're probably saying, what's critical mass? Well, Critical mass would be when, if you don't change the outcome real fast, if you don't do something different, you're fired. That's critical mass, okay, for your listing. So I'll give an example. I had a formula for critical mass. And the formula was, if we have a listing that's been on the market for 30 days, no showings, or been on the market for 60 days, no offers, or had 12 showings and no offers. Any one of those three or combination meant this was critical. If I don't get on the phone and call the seller, he's going to be calling me and he's going to fire my butt. And you know what? I would probably deserve it. So we don't want that to happen. So we would have alarms in our office that would sound, okay, virtually speaking, and it would tell me when a seller was critical. A rainmaking activity is I would pick up the phone and call them and change the outcome, which typically meant getting a different price, investigating what's going on here, that sort of thing. Another part of this system is what you're seeing on your screen right now. Every time a seller would log into our feedback website at homefeedback.com, this is what they would say. Every time they went and looked for feedback, they see this. Okay, you're seeing on your screen right now. Okay, drive-by traffic only, 6% off. Not many showings, 3 to 5% off on your price. Showings, no offers, 2 to 3 percentage points off on your price. So it's not me telling them. It's a visual that they see every time they move forward. Now that is a big, big, big deal. Okay? So make sure you have a really good system for price reductions. Number 12 would be buyer agent incentives. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I have noticed that this does have an impact on some deals. Okay, so here's my experience with it. Back in 1997. Yep, 1995 through 1997, there was a developer here in town where I live. And there was a new section of town, and I'm going to give this section a name. I'm going to call it Peachtree Corners. Okay? And in this Peachtree Corners, Alpharetta, Norcross area was pretty much the sticks. It was the boonies. But this developer, this builder called Cowart, and John Cowart family, they bought up all this land out there, and they decided to build houses. And these houses weren't cheap. These were some of the more expensive homes around for that area at the time. And again, this was kind of far out from town, at least at that time. It's not anymore. I happen to live in one of those areas, but you get where I'm going with this. So their idea was, we know that most of the properties out there that are advertised on the marketplace gives real estate agents a cooperating percentage of 3 to 3.5%. So what they did is they created a whole marketing system of 5%. You sell one of their new homes, 5%. They didn't put any homes in the MLS ever. They just put together a nice brochure, delivered to every single real estate agent in Metro Atlanta, or some of the, well, they probably focused on the more experienced and top agents. And you know what? They would outsell every other builder and sell every single home product they put on the market. Many times the properties were sold before they ever even come out of the ground, okay, just off of, and literally not even spec houses, because the agents did such a great job of moving and pushing the product. So, hey, a system like this does work, okay, but you want to use your own judgment on it, and I would try to get the seller to pay. That's right. Who says you have to give up your commission? Get the seller to pay. Let's look at number 13. Property listing business cards. Upon listing a seller's home, you have 50 business cards made up using Vistaprint or something like that, featuring the seller's house, you know, complete with a photo on it or multiple photos on the back, maybe a couple of benefits of living in the property. Buy this home, I'll buy yours, or whatever your performance guarantee, your unique selling proposition may be, and you give them to the seller. And the seller passes these out to people at their workplace, church, school, or whatever. And you say, hey, when you run out, let me know. I'll send you some more. This is a great lead generator on top of everything else that it does. Is you get the seller actually doing some work for you to help sell the property. They love it, and they think that you're the one doing the work. Okay, they never thought about doing that before. Okay, and they can't put on the card, buy this home, I'll buy yours. Okay, but you can if you have that guaranteed sale program as part of your system. So this is a great way. All right, let's look at number 14. At 45 days into your listing, I would send your seller prospect an email, okay? And the purpose of the email is to leverage the investors that you have in your database, okay? So again, 45 days, got no offers, send a letter or email. TWNA is my old real estate company, Todd Walters and Associates. Okay, that's what that is on your computer screen there. Send it to them. Okay, says that, look, we have a group of real estate investors that may be interested in buying your property. So let's take a look at the letter right here. Here it is. Dear seller, look, we're really motivated to get your home sold. We've got a database of real estate investors. They're paying between 70% and 95% of market value for property. If this is in the price range of something that you would consider, give me a call and let me know. So at 45 days, this email goes out, obviously the properties that are not under contract. And what do you think happens? Yep, a good bit of the sellers call me and say, you know, Todd, I would consider that. Now, obviously, they're all focused on the 95% number, but hey, instant price reduction, okay? Yeah, we take it and present it to our investors, and we just tell the seller that yes or no, they're interested, or no, they're not interested at that price. But it was definitely worth a shot, okay? And you can carry it over to all the other buyers in the marketplace. At 90 days into the listing, maybe you consider getting creative with your guaranteed sale program. In other words, for listings that have not sold within 90 days, then we make the seller an offer. Here's how it works. We'd say, look, Mr. Seller, just go find a house. You go pick one out, and then we will figure out a way to make an offer on your home that will guarantee that it will sell so that you can buy the next house. Okay, we'll just pick out the house. Before we put an offer on that home, we'll figure out the money and the numbers. We can't do it, though, until you pick out your home based on the commission they're offering, and we'll look at it. We'll see if there's a way for us to step in there, buy your home if it doesn't sell, so we can get this process moved and done. That's it. So at 90 days, that's what happens. So that's number 15 on my list, getting creative with a guaranteed sale program. So here's the email right here. It's no secret your home been on the market for almost 3 months in an effort to get it sold. Here's an option for you. Okay, we're willing to buy a buyer's home so they can buy yours, so maybe we buy your home. You just got to go pick one out. So that's what this email says, right? If you're interested in a possible trade, call me now. Let's discuss it. Let's see what we can do to get this thing sold. All right, so these calls right here would probably most likely lead to a price reduction or a change of some in something that we were doing. And on occasion, it would lead to a guaranteed sale. Many of these sellers will be moving out of town. So I've just called the Platinum member, Craig Proctor member in the town that they're moving to, and I tell them, say, hey, how can we work out some sort of deal here, or we can get enough money to guarantee the sale of this guy's home so he can buy one from you, and you get creative on it. Okay, so lots of opportunities here with this guaranteed sale program. So I recommend most of you watching this webinar right now, you have this system and you're using it for one thing, but have you considered using it for this? If not, you may want to take a look at it. All right, let's look at number 16. We're going to call it the Everyday Open House. Okay, so let me tell you the story about how this came up. I get a call one day from a seller, and the seller says, Todd, you know what? We really appreciate your efforts on trying to get our home sold, but look, it's not selling. So we've been talking to some other agents, and we talked to this one agent that says they will have an open house every Sunday until our house sells. So I think we're going to fire you. Excuse me. We're going to cancel our listing with you, and we're going to go list with this agent. All right. Well, so I'm listening to this kind of unfold, and it's not that I haven't heard it before. So, but it got me thinking. So I asked the seller, I said, look, why would you want to take a massive step backwards on exposure of your home and go from having it open every day of every week to only advertising it being open once a week? And how long did you say he was going to open it on Sunday? 2 to 4, 1 to 3. You know, that's a big step backwards. I don't get how you see that's a benefit for you. Now, obviously, I could assume that the agent he talked to is going to put a key box on it and open it up every day and all that kind of stuff, but that would be a mistake. I wasn't there. I don't know what he said. So I'm leveraging only the information that the seller gave me. I don't know who he talked to. I don't care. I just know what he said. So it got the seller really thinking about what I said here, and he goes, you know, what do you mean it's open every day? So I said, let's take a look at the printout of your home that comes right out of just the MLS system, for example. Let's just look at that one thing. Can you see down there where it says showing instructions and availability? Yeah. See where it says your home is available from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock? See, that's every day, 7 days a week, right? And you can see that all they have to do is access the key box to get in. You know, they just call us because we want to screen the prospects and, you know, for security reasons and qualifying. But your home is open every day. We call it the everyday open house. And don't you remember us discussing this right when we put your home on the marketplace? So the seller's like, you know, in a trance at this point. So then I go on to say, look, obviously the reason you're calling me is that you just want to get the home sold. So regardless of all that, let's talk about that. And then we got into price and all that kind of thing. Led to a listing extension and, of course, a price change. But it got me thinking when I hung up the phone, like, you know what? We really can preempt all the agents out there with this everyday open house. And we did. So we just told the story that our houses were open every day, even though most of the listings that are available out there on the marketplace were open every day because they had a key box on it and you could access it anytime, you know, from 9 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night with a courtesy call or a scheduled showing. We decided to preempt that and own it and call it open house every day and market it that way. And it absolutely was a grand slam home run. So it goes to a sign writer, to a website landing page, okay, to a radio talking house script, and you name it. Okay, here's the information line script right here. We even referred to, we totally reversed the risk on it. So check it out. Properties with the everyday open house sign are available for previewing 7 days a week. So in other words, we made it look like not every property is open like this. Only those with an everyday open house sign. Okay, so that's killer. And then we said an everyday open house attendant will meet you at the property when you would like to access and assist you, in entering the property. So who's the everyday open house attendant? You got it. The listing agent. So anyway, great risk reversal here and what we call preemptive marketing. I learned from Craig Proctor a long time ago. So this is a fantastic deal. So I want to recommend that you take a look at that and doing that. All right. One other bonus point system was your options like on rental and lease purchase. Like at the end of the day, the home is not selling. What are you going to do? Okay. Well, I just gave you 16 key systems that should activate as soon as you list the property within 72 hours to get the home sold. Okay? 16 key systems to activate. All right? So as a summary, here they are. Number 17, we'll call this the bonus, is look, you can get paid to rent the home because you can collect the first month's rent. How about a rent to own or a lease purchase? But something, don't give up. Don't give up. Okay? But there's a point where you move to this. And I don't know where it is, 120 days maybe, but there's got to be a point where you do something completely different to move this property along. Owner financing. I mean, come on, short sell, but do something. So that gives you kind of the ideas here it is. Your job as the chief marketing officer for your real estate business is to have a system in place to sell every single listing you put on the marketplace, fast and for top dollar. You got that, you got the sellers. You got the sellers, you got the money. So there you go. I want to thank you for making time to watch this webinar. I know a lot of you are going to have questions and you want to see it again and make notes. No problem. It will be posted to the coaching site as soon as we can get it up there. That usually takes about a week or two to get it going. I'll let you know when it's up there so you can go back and review it and take good advantage of that. So with that, it's going to wrap up our webinar today. Let's go sell some houses. We'll talk to you real soon now. Bye-bye.